Live from Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon, the Pac-12 Network proudly presents college football. The Oregon Ducks, 4th in the country, taking on the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. High expectations in Eugene. The action coming up next. Today, the number 4 Oregon Ducks host the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles of the Ohio Valley Conference. Back-to-back championships in the Pac-12 for the Oregon Ducks. High expectations indeed, and why not? Over the last couple of years with Chip Kelly at the command, 50 points they've averaged, 500 yards. LaMichael James goes pro. No sweat. Next man up. Who's going to get the ball today?
A great recent history at the running back position for the Ducks, and this season is going to be no different. Kenjon Barner last week, a workmanlike 34 carries, over 200 yards, and he showed in that game he could be the workhorse. He can get it done if they need somebody to carry this offense. And if there is one guy that personifies the Oregon offense and what they can do, it's DeAnthony Thomas. 1 touchdown every 4 times he carries the ball. And if you go back to the Rose Bowl last year, Kevin, his last 5 touchdowns, an average of 55 yards. And if not enough reasons to watch already, DeAnthony Thomas gives you one more.
Lethal offensive weapon for the Ducks. And you talk about offense, well, they've got it at the FCS Ohio Valley Conference defending champion Tennessee Tech Ball Club, averaging 41 points.
Well, Tennessee Tech, they like to call themselves the Oregon of the Ohio Valley Conference, and big reason is their quarterback, Trey Lamb, 3rd year as a starter. 5'9", 185 pounds. He's tough, smart, and he can cause a lot of problems for the defense. Then he's got a guy in Derrick Rogers, transfer from Tennessee, days before the season started, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns last year, and he brings an explosive element already to an offense that has no problem moving down the field.
Have you ever heard the phrase, the way you do small things, the way you do all things? Well, Oregon through 2 games has had difficulty with the little things. They have not played well, but it's due to their youth. They've got 65 freshmen or sophomore on this roster, and then they're too deep offensively. They average 1 year of playing experience. On the defensive side, they average 1.3 years of playing experience. A great example is quarterback Marcus Mariota. He struggled last week against Fresno State. Deep in his own territory, in the red zone, unnecessary sacks, 2 forced fumbles against him. He did not play well. And remember, he only started 12 games in high school quarterback, 2 so far in college. Today, I expect him to settle into this position, play much better. Overall, for this Oregon team, they need to recapture their competitive edge. Coach Chip Kelly told us this week, he's not worried about the opponent. In fact, he calls them a faceless opponent. But if they want to play well and contend for a Pac-12 title, they need to finish this faceless opponent today.
Sunny skies, 70 degrees, a light wind about 3 miles an hour blowing in from the northwest here at Autzen Stadium in Eugene. Simply a gorgeous day for football as the Oregon Ducks get set to take on Tennessee Tech. The Golden Eagles have won the toss. They have elected to receive. Alejandro Maldonado will get things started at the 35-yard line with a kick. Touchback, and Tennessee Tech will begin things at the 25-yard line. Being sent out onto the field by Watson Brown, the 62-year-old Ohio Valley Conference Coach of the Year last year when they won the conference. Lamb back to throw, zips a pass, a slant, complete to about the 36-yard line to Derrick Rogers, the junior transfer out of Tennessee. Here's the starting lineup now for Tech this afternoon. Michael Baker anchors the offensive line at center. Jermaine Hudson, Adam Urbano in the backfield. Second down coming up for Tennessee Tech. The handoff to Urbano. He is tackled. The ball is loose. They are going to rule that the ball carrier was down at the 30-yard line. The Ducks defense has Taylor Hart up front with Remington and Jordan on the outside. 7.5 sacks last year for Dion Jordan, first team Pac-12. Michael Clay anchors the linebackers in the middle. And Avery Patterson steps in for John Boyette at free safety. Boyette out for the year. 4 wide receivers now. 2 to the left, 2 to the right for Trey Lamb and Tennessee Tech in a 3rd down deal. 3rd and 4, low snap gathered in by Trey Lamb. Back to throw, has a man for a first down, juggled in and out of it. Watson Brown told us as well, we want to be who we are. Chip Kelly talks about playing the faceless opponent, and Tennessee Tech, I think, reading from the same book. The punt takes a wild hop Tennessee Tech players around it. May have gone off an Oregon player. Tennessee Tech seems to think so. Ball down at the 22. The indication is Oregon football.
A lot of traffic right there.
Oh.
And boy, I can't tell. Did that hit his hand?
Looked like it went off a hand.
Yeah, that went off DeAnthony Thomas's hand. And big mistake. Remember, last year, the opening game against LSU, a couple of fumbles on punt returns for DeAnthony Thomas. That absolutely hit his hand.
Oregon will rush out.
The prior play is under further review. The ruling on the field is the ball was illegally touched at the 32-yard line.
5 touchdowns.
After further review, the ball was touched by a receiving team player, number 6, then recovered by a kicking team player. Therefore, it's Tennessee Tech's ball at the 23-yard line, 1st and 10.
After sudden change, how will we respond? The coaching staff yesterday here at Oregon said that is the observation they make most about their team. 4 receivers wide on the right. Lamb rolls out, directing traffic, pumps a pass from his own 35, but finds a man down at the 10 and a flag thrown.
During the play, number 16 voluntarily went out of bounds and was first to touch the ball. At the penalty for illegal touching, lost it down at the previous spot, 2nd down.
Well, the coverage is great right there. Watch 16 at the right side of your screen. He touches the white part of the sideline, and once you do that, you cannot be the first offensive player to touch the ball.
Lamb back to throw. Brings it back near side. They form a screen. They've got a man in the open. It's to Rick Rogers, bouncing right side, 10-5 into the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee Tech.
Talked about, he loves to bring the pressure, and when you bring pressure, you're susceptible to the wide receiver screen. Trey Lamb gets it out there, a couple of missed tackles, and Rick Rogers showing his stuff, breaking some tackles, making people miss, and getting some points on the board. Great start for the Golden Eagles.
Catch your breath.
Great execution, beating the blitz with a wide receiver screen. Nice blocking downfield, and the open field running of the transfer. Just joined the team 4 days before the season started, Rick Rogers.
Of course, they get a big payday, and they get on their schedule a big-time college football program to oppose. It's good for the traveling crew. They bring a lot of people from Cooksville, Tennessee. Here's the up back making the catch and across to about the 37-yard line in Oregon. Had a great spring game, and based on that spring game, beat out Brian Bennett, who actually started a few games last year for Oregon. Mariota drills one right up the middle. The offense for Oregon this afternoon. Grassu, the sophomore, anchors that offensive line. Josh Huff, a junior, ailing with a knee, did not practice all week, but in the lineup here this afternoon. Mariota, the direct snap, throwing right side, man open. Ladarius Verge, the senior up front, the nose tackle. Radarius Goff, the sophomore, middle linebacker, and William Dillard, a freshman, playing corner. They really like the work that he has done this year. Faking the handoff, play action, big tight end opened up into Tennessee Tech territory before he's chopped down at the 35-yard line. Pharaoh Brown, the freshman from Lyndhurst, Ohio, with the catch. First down and a lot more ground down at the Tennessee Tech 24-yard line.
Well, last week they started out on the ground. This week 3 straight passes, play action, and he finds Pharaoh Brown right up the seam alone.
Mariota, play action again, steps to his left, gunning right side toward the post, has a man open and driven out at about the 2-yard line.
Sharp Mariota is on this drive, hitting a number of different wide receivers, going through his progressions, and then Lowe beats his man to the corner, and Mariota puts it on him.
Well, and Oregon wants to get off a play quickly, but a flag is thrown, sprinting out here to the sideline.
On the defense.
Of course, that's what they do. They put so much pressure on you defensively. You cannot change personnel. They are up and down the field. They really test your conditioning to the ultimate, don't they?
Yeah, Chip Kelly talks about using conditioning as a weapon, and they come out and overwhelm opponents off the opening whistle with speed.
Now that was easy.
What a nice drive, and I think this is exactly what they needed.
For Oregon. Well, the PAT is good. We're tied at 7. Tech will take a knee, touchback. They'll begin things at the 25-yard line.
Now, Oregon, they have to play a complete game, and they've had flashes of brilliance in their first 2 games, haven't been very good in the second half, and they have to stay healthy. They have to get ready for their conference games coming up next week. And for Tennessee Tech, you got to keep your composure. We saw how fast this offense comes out of the gates, and that's what Oregon does. They overwhelm you with their speed and their intensity, and you have to be able to weather the storm.
Here's the handoff. Good surge by the offensive line, and that's a gain of about 7 on the play. 2nd and 3 for the Golden Eagles. Direct snap to land. Hands off to Urbano, and he is grabbed. Nick Rogers, who's a junior, who also is a teammate at Calhoun, Georgia. Here's the handoff to Urbano. Dancing out to his right, and he is hit from behind and knocked down, but a gain of a couple on the play. Slot left, the H-back, and then 2 wide here to the bottom of your screen. Lamb got hit hard, throws over the middle, and it sails, and a flag down at the point of contact. A penalty
foul,
here.
roughing the passer.
Stood his ground and got
Number
off the
96
pass.
on the defense.
And this is going to go against Oregon.
That's Dion Jordan. He had a free rush. And you watch as Trey Lamb gets rid of the ball, and he puts helmet to helmet.
In fact, they've been outscored in the second half of their previous 2 games, 43-14. So they have not been completing, have not been finishing games. Well, there's a big stop there.
Isaac Remington just blows right through the line of scrimmage, untouched. Easy tackle in the backfield.
3 wides to the near side. 2nd and 14 for Trey Lamb. He's going to sprint out. On the option to Urbano. And Oregon hats all over the point of contact.
And Dion Jordan just comes, chases it down from the backside, showing off how athletic and how fast he is.
Jordan, a converted wide receiver from Chandler, Arizona, Adam Archuleta's hometown. He is 6'7", 243 and quick. 3rd and 14, Lamb back to pass. Ball batted, nearly intercepted.
And Taylor Hart shows the instincts to get a hand up there. Or excuse me, that was Dion Jordan, a guy that very tough to throw the ball over.
Hart up front. He's 6'6", 292. You've got Jordan at 6'7". You're absolutely right. Trey Lamb at 5'9", remember, having difficulty looking over the defenders. Here's a punt high into the air. Thomas has that sun right in his eyes. He's going to let that bounce. And Tennessee Tech will down it. Next week here at home, they take on Rich Rodriguez and the Arizona Wildcats. Mariota fakes the handoff, gunning far side and tumbling out of bounds over the reception and the first down is Addison.
Yeah, when we talked to the Oregon staff yesterday, they really talked about their offensive line, how they wanted to make sure they finished blocks well. They didn't think they played well in their first 2 games, and to compete in the Pac-12 conference, it all starts up front. Keep an eye on the big fellas.
Thank you, Yogi. Flag on the play.
Ball starts. 71 offense. 5-yard
going
penalty.
back to Yogi's
Makes
point,
first
they
down.
didn't like the pad level. They felt like they played way too high. And Fresno State was a physical defense, and they were able to get underneath their pads and create some leverage. So they want to see them come out, keep their pads low, and take the fight to the defense.
Scooting left side, but run out of bounds. I mean, you consider Kenjon Barner last year, yards per carry was 6 yards a game. Would you hold him to 4 yards on a carry? You've done a nice job. 2nd and 11 now for Oregon. Mariota. High pass gathered in, and that's close to a first down. Down there was Dwayne Stanford, the freshman out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Big target at him, 6'5", long and lanky.
And then Stanford was able to be wide open in the middle.
Pick up a 9 on the play. Jumbo formation. Clear out the backfield. Mariota back to throw. The freshman gunning up the seam and just off the fingertips. Between the hash marks, the intended receiver there was Pharaoh Brown.
Chip Kelly, Marcus Mariota working the tight end game, the seam up the middle. And again, Brown pretty open right there. Mariota had to put that ball down about 6 inches.
2nd and 10. Thomas is the lone man in the backfield. Fake the jet screen. Give to Thomas left side 50, 40. He's to the 30-yard line. He has space in front, turning the legs and into the end zone. Just like that with a burst of lightning. The Black Mamba for 59 yards. DeAnthony Thomas.
Wow, sometimes, Kevin, I can't do this any justice. Just sit back and watch and enjoy on your own.
The extra point by Rob Beard is good, and Oregon leading 14-7.
And not only is he faster than everybody on the field, but his awareness, his football intelligence, the way he sets up blocks and sees the field is what makes him so special. And of course, if you don't have the angle on him, you don't have a chance to tackle him. And he's so fast, he outruns the angle.
Explosion plays. Well, both these teams have had explosion plays this year. Tennessee Tech, remember, averaging 41 points a game in the previous 2 wins over Hampton and Greenville State. And goes to work. The 5'9" quarterback backs up, arcs a Highland near side, has a man down there, but good close coverage applied down there.
The coverage was excellent by Ekpe Olumu.
And going the rest of the way this year without their free safety, John Boyette, who's the quarterback of their defense. Lamb and a keeper picks up a couple on the play. Boyette out with lingering knee problems. He's going to have surgery to both knees. And then on the offensive side of the ball for Oregon today, their right guard, Carson York, out for the rest of the season as well with a knee that just would not respond due to offseason knee surgery. He came back late in the game. So you lose 2 players, one on the defense, one on the offensive side, that are both seniors, both veterans. Between them, 81 starts in this Oregon program.
Avery Patterson, he's played in 29 games, and they feel like he's so sharp that they shouldn't miss a beat.
3rd and 8, hard rush. Oh, Lamb is knocked down from behind.
Remington and Hart, they blitz up the middle. And you see Baseko Lacombo come in there untouched, forces Trey Lamb to step into the pocket. And the hustle right there to come across off of the edge, make the sack for Taylor Hart.
All eyes on Thomas as this ball is punted into the air, end over end. They're not going to give Thomas an opportunity. That one bounces down and checks at about the 45-yard line, and they'll down it there. Under Kelly, the last 2 years, they've averaged only 50 points a game at 500 yards. Astonishing numbers. Thomas in motion. Pass near side, high stepping 40. Across to the 30. Breaks an ankle, cutting back to the 10. Swerves to the 5. He's into the end zone. May have fumbled the ball to the back of the end zone. Recovered by a lineman. Touchdown, Oregon.
Well, he's not going to get credit for the touchdown, but again, the blocking on the outside. Will Murphy just springing DeAnthony Thomas, open field tackling. Not a problem. Nobody is going to stop him in the open field. He makes people look silly.
But Jake Fisher's going to remember that a long time. He'll put that ball in the trophy case back there in Traverse City, Michigan. So the sophomore gets credit for the touchdown. Mambo will give him that ball for his trophy case back there in Michigan. I hope so.
Some tell me the Black Mamba is going to have plenty of balls in his trophy case. I mean, we talk about the speed all the time, but the blocking on the outside is so important. The wide receivers were Sean Vaughn, Will Murphy, and that allows DeAnthony Thomas the open field. And once he gets out there on the edge, the perimeter, it's almost impossible.
Trey Lamb goes to work. The senior again flushed. He's been under pressure. Sprint out to the 20. Looks back to the far side of the field. Arcs a pass over here. Good idea. He was hammered.
Personal foul, roughing the passer in the defense. Unnecessary roughness. 15-yard penalty. First down.
You see Trey Lamb. There's a sea of green right there. And that's Kiko Alonso coming in, lowering the shoulder. Puts a shot on Trey Lamb. He's tough. 5'9", 185 pounds.
Big numbers in their opener against Hampton. 340 yards, 4 touchdowns. He hands off to Urbano, and he is knocked down just across the line of scrimmage.
Defensive coordinator Nick Aliotta made it really clear to his defense after the last game against Fresno State. He said we did not play up to our standard, and today he said he was going to be aggressive and challenge his defense to really become more physical, finish the plays at the front line with the backers and in the back end with the secondary. Even though they've got 2 late hits thus far this game, you see they have a different attitude than they did a week ago.
3 men up front defensively. Flanker screen right side, and a gain of a few on the play as Trey Lamb unloads to Ryan Tillman, just in an attempt to keep Oregon's offense off. Man across early. That was Jordan who jumped.
Offside. Defense number 91 entered into the neutral zone.
Oregon's
5-yard
been
penalty.
penalized here. We mentioned the 2 personal fouls, offsides, a fumble as well. It's not a well-operating Oregon machine here early. Adam, 3 wide to the near side. Lamb the handoff. Quick flick to a man coming out of the backfield, Tremaine Hudson. And Hudson has swarmed at the 50-yard line. And there's the pursuit that Adam Archuleta was talking about. Good play. Clay's a good one. 5'11", 225, the senior out of San Jose, California. 3-year starter.
Well, and it was Dion Jordan. He was out there playing in space, wasn't rushing the passer, and he drove his wide receiver about 5 yards back, got off of the block, and ended up making the play. So Dion Jordan, great pass rusher, can get to the quarterback, but versatile enough to play out there in space and make plays.
13 tackles for loss last year for Jordan. First team All Pac-12. Lamb goes to work. 2nd and 8. And he's hauled down. Again, pursuit.
He takes off before the offensive linemen have a chance to react, almost offsides, and gets in the backfield. Then you got the bookend, Isaac Remington. They meet at the quarterback.
3 in the box, 2 on the near edge, and 1 angling off to the far side. Dion Jordan. Tennessee Tech wants to think about it. 3rd and 14. Lamb has receivers sprinkled all over the field. Throws it near side. Tremaine Hudson pounds his way across the 50. That was to Rick Rogers. Rogers, we should reiterate, had a huge year last year in the SEC when he led the conference. 67 catches, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. First team all SEC. But because he violated team rules, had to leave the program and then linked up with Tennessee Tech.
Brown would like to get him a
Delay
half.
a game. 92 on the kicking team.
And let it fly from his own 37-yard line and back to get it. Number 6. They'll let it roll out of bounds, and Oregon will take it deep in their own territory.
Shaping up to be a good year here in the Pac-12. A lot of exciting games, and I look at most of the games on this schedule, and they should all be very competitive. Not a lot of separation in the Pac-12 this season.
Screen pass right side. Yeah, with Oregon State registering that win over Wisconsin last weekend. Arizona State throttling Illinois. The nice win that Arizona had over then number 18 Oklahoma State. You'd have to say, yeah, the field is evening out.
You got 3 new coaches, Todd Graham, Jim Mora, and Rich Rodriguez, all 2-0 right now.
Jonathan Franklin leading the nation in rushing, nearly 215 yards per carry. They'll give it to Barner again on the left side. And again, he is hammered out. Going there. Here in Eugene, Oregon. And all is good here at Autzen Stadium in Eugene. Ducks have possession. Mariota looking to go long. He is knocked down and sacked behind the line of scrimmage.
Edwards, 7.5 sacks last season. And one of the few times they're able to get to Mariota. He's had a clean pocket and able to get the ball out pretty much on time.
The redshirt freshman, 6'4", out of Honolulu, Hawaii. And again, a flag.
Ball starts. 75 offense. 5-yard penalty.
Fisher jumps off and they'll back it up.
It's just the penalties so far in this game.
Barner cuts back, pounds into a couple of defenders, and is able to lean forward to the original line of scrimmage. Mariota quickly back to throw, sets up a screen right side. This is Thomas behind blocks. Tripped up, shoestring at about the 30-yard line. That was Barner. The crowd wants him to go for it. We have a man down on the field, though. They're going to attend to Golden Eagle player down there, Howard Griffin, the middle linebacker.
And they just try and set up a screen right here. Barner gets it, has blockers out in front of him. Good job pursuing from the inside out. Darius Goff, the linebacker.
Oh.
Yeah, and you see Howard Griffin cut
Over here to the sideline.
They're really gearing up to win their conference, and playing a game like this against a team like Oregon, the last thing you want is your guys to go down.
Mariota looks left, steps out to his right, and that's where Tennessee Tech will meet him with 4 defenders. And in the stack, he's knocked down to about the 24-yard line. And so, boy, that went awry from the beginning on a 4th and 1 for Oregon.
Yeah, Tommy McBride over there on the right side, really doing a good job. And those are the things they didn't want to see coming into this game.
No, they didn't. They thought they had cleaned that up in practice this week. Hard rush on Lamb. He's just going to hold it. Oregon, they want to see how their defense will respond now after the offense has given it back to Tennessee Tech, and their response is aggression right up the middle.
Yeah, Tyson Coleman right there off of the edge. And Trey Lamb, not a lot of time today to throw the ball. They're going to have to try and find a way to get that ball out of his hands a little bit quicker.
2nd and 19 for Trey Lamb. Rollout pitch. Ikipi, Remington, Hart, Washington, Jordan. Up front for Oregon. Lamb back to throw. That's intercepted. This may go for 6. Ducks on the run. And saving a short touchdown was Lamb, who got back, got into position, and somehow was able to avoid the blockade and knock down the ball carrier. In this case, it was Kiko Alonso with the pick and the run.
Another wide receiver screen. They try and set up to Derrick Rogers, but Oregon snuffs it out. Kiko Alonso with the instincts, the reaction to pick up that ball. And if it's not for Trey Lamb, that's going to be another touchdown. But that play was disrupted from the very beginning. And that defense pinning their ears back right now.
Mariota play action near side to Dungy. Parents are Anthony and Lauren Dungy. Yes, that Tony Dungy. Mariota. The handoff to Barner, breaks out right side. One man to beat on the edge. Stumbles, gets to the 10, to the 5, and then it's.
Oh, what a nice cut from Kenjon Barner. He stops Art to the left side there. Sees the cutback angle outside. He has a defender there who has the angle to try and tackle him. He breaks that to the edge.
Barner 8th in the Pac-12 in rushing last year at nearly 78 a game. And they'll push ahead across the 5-yard line. Kenjon Barner with a tough couple on the play. You know, by comparison, you see DeAnthony Thomas, who has this unworldly type speed. Kenjon Barner is a blur as well.
I don't sleep on Kenjon Barner.
Oh, no way, man.
He is all-purpose, and if you give him a sliver, he's not as explosive as DeAnthony Thomas, but he's not a very far second.
Mariota rolls, has a man in the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon. And that one goes to that big tight end for 4 yards. Colt Laerla, the 6'5" sophomore out of Hillsboro, Oregon.
And they love the boot game down in the red zone. It's one of their favorite plays. Mariota fakes the run, wheels out to the left side there. Laerla fakes the block, gets lost in the shuffle, and Mariota puts it right on him.
Laerla may be the next in that mold. Here's the kick. It's up and good, and Oregon has taken a commanding lead now, 28-7 over Tennessee Tech. Welcome back to Eugene, Oregon. 71 degrees at game time. Just a little bit of wind. Oregon leading Tennessee Tech 28-7. Maldonado sends this one high into the air. And picked up by Van Leer at his own 10. It's out across the 20-yard line. Trey Lamb is out now for the Golden Eagles. The quarterback hands off to Urbano. Fakes right, moves left, and gets up off the left guard. And the handoff comes to Bush. Tried to cut it back, does, but spun around. 4 wide receivers on a 3rd and 4 deal now for the Golden Eagles. Lamb is spun around and sacked on the play. Guess who? Deion Jordan off the edge, the converted wide receiver.
Yeah, the praying mantis is having a heck of a game working on Hunter Beadle. The tackle over there, just a speed rush, and that's what we talked to him about yesterday.
Thomas is at his own 45. The punt high into the air, drives the Black Mamba back to the 25-yard line. Fakes right, jukes left, near side, here he comes. High stepping to the 40-yard line, and is driven out of bounds at the 30.
Yeah, Kevin, some things in life just don't make any sense, and I think this is one of them. I mean, how can you explain DeAnthony Thomas open field again? Just has the uncanny ability to find the open spaces and outrun angles.
He's that kind of guy. And he is carried for 59 yards and a touchdown as well today. Ball picked up, may have been deflected, intercepted.
Yeah, and Mariota, he just telegraphs. He's trying to get the ball to his tight end. He telegraphs the throw, and Howard Griffin, who was hurt on the drive previous, a little knee injury, comes back in the game, undercuts the route.
Leading 28-7 with 8:33 to go in the second. And Tech's Trey Lamb winds up in a pass down the far sideline. Well thrown, but just out of the grasp of the intended receiver down. His favorite receiver, to Rick Rogers.
And we haven't seen a lot of teams this season try and take shots down the field on the Oregon defense, but credit Trey Lamb and Watson Brown for seeing the matchups, man-to-man coverage on the outside and trying to make something happen.
Lamb's going to keep it, 55,000 plus, raising their voices down to 3rd and 7. 3 receivers to the right of Trey Lamb. He's going to roll that direction. Pumps and fires near sideline, complete. And this is going to be short of a first. Tech is 0 for 7 now, 3rd down conversion. The punt drives Thomas down to the 20, backs up and then accelerates to his right. A burst off 2 tacklers to the 30, turns the corner 40, across the 50, gets to the far sideline, trying to take an angle back. Instead, he'll run it out of bounds as Tech surrounds him.
It just doesn't stop. You just can't turn it off right now.
.48 yards on that burst for DeAnthony Thomas out of Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles. Godfather is Snoop Dogg, the rap artist who also sponsors the Football League in Los Angeles. On the keeper.
Mariota showing off the speed and the read option right here, and he just keeps it. And he's a guy that now he's got 4.4 speed. He's a guy that, you know, not only is it danger to keep the ball and extend plays, but a very useful weapon and somebody that can take you deep, just like Barner and DeAnthony Thomas.
Brian Bennett now comes into the backfield, and they'll work the 2 quarterbacks back there. Brian Bennett with Mariota.
False start. 64 on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
And a false start. This one on the offense. Brian Bennett is too good a weapon for Oregon to leave on the sideline. Mariota may have won the job in spring practice, but Brian Bennett can be lethal. Played in 8 games last year behind Darren Thomas. He had 6 touchdown passes, did not get charged with an interception. Here's the handoff. It comes up the middle to the right side to Thomas. He spun around and wrestled down to the 15-yard line. Oregon, obviously, Adam doesn't want to reveal too much to Arizona or the rest of the Pac-12, but you have to believe at some point they'll have Bennett in there in some of those sets. Here across the line of scrimmage is Thomas, and he got pounded down to the turf that time. 5:40 remaining in the second, clock running. Barner in the backfield. Mariota to throw near side to the tight end.
Today, the weapon for the Ducks, and outside of DeAnthony Thomas, obviously, has been the tight ends. And they feel really good about the tight end position. They have 4 tight ends they really think can be special. Not just Lyerla, Farrell Brown, TJ Daniel, Koakai, all young guys that have to still figure out how to play college football. But you can see an effort to try and get the ball in their hands today.
The kick is blocked, and it caroms wildly out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Rob Beard's kick blocked for the Coors Light freeze cam. Here's Adam Archuleta.
Well, Ducks doing a good job at focus plays, Kevin.
Got a piece of that when Trey Lamb, low snap, picks it up, shoestring level, and he's just going to sprint and slide down just short of the 20-yard line. 2nd 13 now for Tennessee Tech. They give it left side, and Doug Page, the junior from Franklin, Tennessee, is upended by Michael Clay. And they stack up 4 with 1 off the near edge. And Lamb avoids the edge rusher, flips it out to Urbano to the 20, across the 25, a hit late. And another penalty on Oregon.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, out of bounds on the defense, number 41. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Dargan, the guilty penalty. Yeah, way late. I'm not sure that was Dargan.
I think that was Isaac Dixon.
Yeah, I think you're right. But that's the third personal foul against Oregon here in the first half.
Yeah, the goal was to come out, be physical, and be intense. And right now they're walking just over that line, and they have to dial it back and be smart. Play with that same intensity, but you got to be smart and not put your team in a harm's way, because that's going to come back and hurt you.
When you look at this young defense, they're too deep. They average only 1.3 years of experience. So they're a young team, ridiculously talented. They're flying in the football. But, Adam, you know that you've got to be disciplined, and you can't have these costly hits because they're going to hurt you in conference play.
Yeah, they sure are. In a game like this, it may not creep up, but in a tight ball game, you got to know and have faith that you're going to be able to keep your composure and not give the other team an advantage by creating costly penalties.
Timeout. Tennessee Tech.
Tennessee
That's
Tech
their
will call
second
a
charge
timeout. They
timeout.
want to think about things.
Timeout on the
2:21
field.
offensively for Oregon. DeAnthony Thomas, who has come up with 204 yards all-purpose and a touchdown. But turnovers and penalties have been costly to Oregon. Tennessee Tech, frankly, has been able to stay in this. And an Oregon timeout on the field. Oregon next week here at home, Adam, takes on a very good Arizona team, much improved, at Washington State. And Mike Leach, of course, throws all the gadgetry out there as well. They came up with a close win last night.
Well, I think Chip Kelly and his staff do a great job of keeping this team focused on one game at a time. They really don't talk about their opponents much, and he really keeps them disciplined and focused on the task at hand.
Thomas up the seam, breaking out right side. There's flags back on the play. He's going to get down to the 35-yard line and finally hit from behind and knocked down. But a flag rests down there at about the 9-yard line deep in Oregon territory. DeAnthony really got hammered from behind.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 89 on the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. It'll be first down.
I didn't see where that block was set, Adam.
No, I didn't see it either. Not on our screen.
Just shy of 270 all-purpose yards in the first half, but it's negated on a yet another Oregon penalty here this afternoon. Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. Coach, tune it up in a week, getting set for a conference opponent against Arizona next weekend. Is it cause for concern? Here's Mariota back in the end zone. His own end zone, sets up, leans forward, has a man wide open at the far sideline. Terrific catch, hauling it in was Braylon Addison, the freshman from Mizzou City, Texas.
Wide receiver, kind of a hybrid that really can develop into a downfield threat. Great job on the edge of the sideline, coming down with the ball. And Mariota with a nice pass. Great protection up front, gave him the time.
Mariota sets up, avoids the rush, sprints out to the right, throwing on the run.
And throws a dart, moving to his right.
Now they're calling it a first down. The chains haven't moved. Now they do move. Mariota will roll out, throws back near side. Here's Barner. Deeks left, moves right, and moves parallel to the 45-yard line out of bounds to stop the clock with a minute 34 remaining. This is an offense that just puts up unworldly numbers. The last 2 years under Chip Kelly, just shy of 50 points a game and 500 yards per contest. Mariota, middle screen. Jabs right, moves left as Kenjon Barner gets across the 45, but again there were flags back in the Oregon backfield.
Holding 64 in the offense. 10-yard penalty.
Boy, oh boy, the crowd's letting the Ducks hear about it right now at Autzen Stadium.
Tyler Johnstone, the redshirt freshman.
Oregon had averaged 8 penalties per ball game in the previous 2. They've already picked up 9 today here in the first half. Mariota back to throw, angles this one far sideline away out of bounds, overthrown incomplete with a minute 19 yards and penalties. Mariota back to throw. They screen it right side. And trying to pick his way across the 50-yard line was Darrell Hawkins. They have been Rashawn Vaughn. Vaughn is in as well, 6'2 senior. Here's Mariota back to throw, and again they'll screen it right side. Trying to free a man. Getting down to about the 42-yard line was Rashawn Vaughn.
Now Rashawn Vaughn, another player who they're looking for that really thinks can be something. Didn't really have a great camp, not a great offseason, wasn't in sync. Kind of got sent to the scout team a little bit, do some time in the doghouse, but you know he's starting to catch on, and if he gets this thing before too long in the season, he can be a pretty big playmaker for this offense.
There's Vaughn eluding a tackle, gets a downfield block, and then is dragged out of bounds.
When you notice on that snap right there, it was to Mariota's left again, and they kind of had a problem with that. Last week, it seemed like every snap in the shotgun was to the left, and that's something the coaches said that they don't know where that came from. That's not something that they've had any problems with. But again, Mariota having to adjust just slightly to get that snap off.
Piranhas Grasu, the center, sophomore from Encino, California. Franklin, #1 in the country in yards per game, 215. Brett Hundley, 18th in passing efficiency for UCLA. Oregon goes back to work. Mariota throws far sideline. That is again to Rashawn Vaughn, who's been the man here on this campaign for Oregon with 46 seconds. They've got Oregon State next weekend. The Beavers have the bye this weekend. Here's Mariota, play action, backs up. He's going to call his own number. He'll run it. It gets down to about the 33-yard line.
That big stick by Tredarius Goff, and 18-year-old freshman playing quarterback. You got to be able to protect yourself.
Substitution infraction on the defense. The 12th player did not get off the field. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Not a bad idea for Tennessee Tech. Mariota flushed out. He'll roll out to his left. Head up and scanning. Hesitates and throws. Complete.
The thing that you have to remember when you're rushing a quarterback, upfield shoulder, don't allow him to break contain.
Mariota back to throw as a man open at the 5. Touchdown, Oregon. DeAnthony Thomas sneaking out of the backfield. Thomas has done it again. His second touchdown of the afternoon.
He just doesn't allow you to hit him. Wide open right here. The corner has to fall off of his man to make the play. Gives him a little shimmy. It's like Neo in the Matrix dodging bullets.
He really is. What was it you said yesterday? All he sees is green dots.
Green dots. It looks like the Golden Eagles come with the blitz. DeAnthony Thomas out of the backfield, wide open with an assignment error.
He did for so long and so well. Open field against DeAnthony Thomas. What are you thinking at that point there?
It's tough. You know what? One time in a preseason game, 3 plays into it, I got juked by LaDainian Tomlinson. He went 50 yards for a touchdown, and I was really upset. I went to the sideline, and I was talking to Marshall Falk on the plane, really upset that I let that happen. He said, look, we're talking about one of the best, and if that running back doesn't make you miss, then that's on him. He's supposed to win that battle. And so it didn't make me feel any better, but in the open field, you know, guys like that, it's almost impossible.
No, sure. I had Thomas squared up, had him in my sights, and it was just like smoke. He just suddenly wasn't there anymore. Tech's up back will take it at the 15-yard line. This is Tremaine Hudson. He gets a pretty good swath of ground there across the 30, and that will end the first half with all intents and purposes. 1 second left off the clock. And Lamb will secure it. Will hand off to Urbano, the senior. And that will end our first half of play.
Anthony Thomas over 200 yards of total offense. Is he playing at a different speed?
No, I mean, he's playing the way he normally plays.
And on both sides of the football, it seems like you're doing some things well, but 9 penalties overall. How are you going to address them at halftime?
We got to talk to him at halftime. Penalties are killing us. We're self-inflicted wounds, and it's all on us.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Back with Adam Archuleta and Yogi Roth. Kevin Calabro here at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. Beautiful day today. Fast track for DeAnthony Thomas, 222 all-purpose yards. Tennessee Tech with 82. Here's a kick off the tee near side. This one coming to Keenan Lowe, the up man, who's down and around the 39-yard line.
Yeah, I talked to Watson Brown right after the half, and he said, look, up front, we're just getting beat. We can't get anything off, even a simple high-low pass. So look for some quick game, some half roll. In regards to DeAnthony Thomas, he said the last 2 punts that he returned, they were supposed to go out of bounds. So they're going to continue to directionally kick and get the ball out of his hands.
That he would kick to DeAnthony Thomas.
I thought he was trying to give his punt cover team a good look before they start conference play.
Mariota rolls out a jump pass up the middle, complete. Down deep into Tennessee Tech territory. Keenan.
The Golden Eagles clear out the middle, and Mariota puts it on him.
Mariota fakes the handoff, rolling out to his left. He's going to throw on the run and backpedaling and trying to catch simultaneously down there was Darrell Hawkins off his chest. Incomplete.
A nice throw. You watch Mariota off of his back foot, and Keenan Lowe just simply outraces his man to an open middle of the field.
That was good for 38 yards, Adam. Here's Mariota handing off to Kenjon Barner, threads his way off to the right side, moving off the right tackle. And up to the middle, and on 4th down, Oregon sends Barner up the middle, and except for a shoestring tackle, he'd have had 7, stopped just shy of the 5.
Just a simple dive play. Kenjon Barner takes it up. Good job between the left guard and the center, making a little seam there. And it doesn't take much to get in the secondary.
Also won by William Dillard. Second down goal.
That's a nice job on that left side there by Tommy McBride to hold the point, hold the edge, and Barner doesn't have anywhere to run.
Brings up second down, goal to go. They sweep it right side. Barner again muscles his way down to about the 3-yard line.
And he's a real meat and potatoes of the running backs. He can run inside, outside, wide receiver. He can carry the load.
Mariota near side fakes the handoff and zips a pass to Keenan Lowe for the touchdown.
From an execution standpoint, especially in the passing game, Mariota and his wide receivers and tight ends are pretty sharp in this game.
8 plays, 61 yards, and the time of possession just over 2 minutes, and Oregon on top, 42-7. Meantime, it was Arkansas State falling in week 1 here to the Ducks. Last weekend it was Fresno State, and today Tennessee Tech taking the brunt of the Oregon onslaught led by DeAnthony Thomas. Darian Stone now will come in, the sophomore from Clinton, Tennessee, to quarterback Tennessee Tech. And Trey Lamb, the senior, on the sideline. Stone with a handoff to Urbano, and he is knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. Golden Eagles keep it on the ground. Adam Urbano again, flag thrown behind the ball carrier down around the 20-yard line.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty. Main second down.
Here's the handoff to Urbano, churning his legs, got past the line of scrimmage, possibly. And Tech keeping it on the ground for the time being here to start their first possession of the third quarter. Brian Bennett warming up for the Oregon Ducks. Last year he stepped in, did Bennett, and played in 8 games behind Darren Thomas. And you mentioned this Oregon team earlier, Kurt, due to kids moving on after the junior year. LaMichael James was #1 rushing in the conference, 150 yards per game and 18 touchdowns. And Thomas was #4 in quarterbacking efficiency. That's a big blow.
Well, that's something they've been able.
Tip ball intercepted. Oregon intercepts. This may go back to the house for 6, and it does. It looked like it was Jamel Cook that got the deflection and races into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon. Dior Mathis. Check that. It was Dior Mathis, the sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, who got the deflection and into the end zone.
That quick 3-step slant. And Dior Mathis on the spot. Easy deflection around the football. And does he stay in? I don't know.
No, he went out right there. I thought he went out at the 3-yard line. Play is under review.
Yeah, it looks right around that 5-yard line, Kevin. That left foot looks like it touched the white. Oh.
Yeah.
And almost getting a touchdown. Great start.
After
to the
further
third quarter,
review,
something they haven't had.
it was determined that the runner's left foot stepped out of bounds prior to scoring. Therefore, it'll be 1st and goal at the 4.5-yard line.
Dior Mathis with the interception, and Brian Bennett now comes back out onto the field for Oregon. Bennett, the sophomore from Encino, California. Fakes the handoff, rolls out, spots a seam, and runs into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon. Oregon closing in on 50 points with 10:35 remaining in the third, which is what Oregon has averaged in the last 2 years under Chip Kelly. 49-7 the score here in the third. Jermaine Hudson is back for the Golden Eagles along with Bud Golden. Hudson at the 15 to the 20, 25 across the 30-yard line and spilled at the 32. Let's go down to the field and Yogi Roth.
Yeah, one of the first players to congratulate Brian Bennett was Marcus Mariota. And I think that speaks to the culture that's been created here by Chip Kelly. Remember, Brian almost left this team. He almost transferred, decided to stick around, stay within this culture. And Adam, you know this as well as anybody. You've really got to develop that sense of community, because it's a long season. You never know when you're going to need Bennett along the lines, and to keep the culture of community within that team going.
Yeah, it's so key, and the best teams play as a team. And there's a handful of coaches across the country that do such a good job of taking the individual out of the team and letting the guys play collectively and be all in it for one.
Ball caught, but then may have been coughed up. It goes out of bounds. Tennessee Tech all over the ball down there. Bennett and Mariota in the backfield. Will they be using Bennett as another weapon at some point, or do you risk injury to your backup quarterback by doing so?
No, I think it's possible. You know, yeah. Brian Bennett, he's kind of a linebacker in a quarterback's body. He's tough. He can run the ball, so that definitely could be a package that you see, because getting both of those guys and the athletes that they are and their skill sets could create a lot of problems for a defense.
Stone wants to snap again. Oh, he flutters a ball. That looked like his arm was coming forward, but did it go back?
On an empty hand when he threw the ball.
Arm going forward, the ball thrown backwards. He goes to get it, falls on it. And so a loss on the play. 75-degree day. Stone hands off, and they kind of plow ahead there. This one hangs in the air and drives Addison back. Takes a tremendous hop for Tennessee Tech and goes out of bounds at around the 15-yard line.
Personal foul, face mask on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty headed to the end of the play. First down.
Bennett goes to work. Bennett fakes the handoff, rolls out, throws a bullet to the far side, and that one sails out of bounds. Here's the handoff coming to Byron Marshall. Marshall breaks it out to the near side, just shy of the 50-yard line. Byron Marshall, good-looking back at him. Out of San Jose, California, a freshman. They want to get him some touches.
Now, older brother Cameron Marshall over there for the ASU Sun Devils. 18 rushing touchdowns last year. He is a workhorse. This family, they're built like a brick, you know what. Hey, they're good-looking athletes.
201 pounds on that frame, and he bounces off one man, churning his legs across the 30 to about the 25-yard line. We talked about the embarrassment of riches that Oregon has at skilled positions. One man leaves the program, LaMichael James, another steps up, and then the understudy behind Barner and Thomas is that man right there, Byron Marshall.
In the running back position wasn't very deep. You know, DeAnthony Thomas, how do you define him? Is he a back? Is he a wide receiver? And really, Kenjon Barner is the only full-time running back. So it was key for a guy like Byron Marshall to come in here and be able to step in there when they need some rest.
Pass, and Tennessee Tech will take it back.
Yeah, bootleg, sprint out action. And he throws rolling to his right, really nowhere to throw it. Coverage was great on the man and underneath.
Boy, this snap rolls back to Stone. He gets down and fields it. And is able to hand off to his up back. Nothing about that was pretty, as Stephen Bush was able to push it forward. Mark Helfrich, the coordinator, sits up in the booth. Kelly calls his play from the sideline, and Helfrich there to assist and make observations from the booth, talking to Bennett. Play is under review on the field.
Clock is malfunctioning and will be kept on the field.
Everybody
correction, it's the play clock that's not operating, not the game clock.
This afternoon,
the play clock will be kept on the field.
And they've had 10 rushing touchdowns. That's a great combination. They'll test that. They go to Farrell Field Today in Columbia to take on Missouri. Last word, Missouri was going to bring up their redshirt freshman
It
quarterback.
looked like they were on their way to having a great season, but the wheels fell off in the second half. And of course, Dennis Erickson and his staff gets fired and makes way for Todd Graham.
Look at Urbano break free. Arizona State.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds, number 4 on the defense. 15-yard
personal
penalty.
foul penalty
Automatic
today.
first down.
That's just inexcusable, Adam. I don't know how you cut that, but that's inexcusable. This team has got to be more disciplined if they want to repeat as conference champions.
Yeah, I mean, there's times when it's really close right there on the sideline. Sometimes you don't know. But, you know, 3 or 4 times now in this game, it was pretty apparent that the runner was out of bounds.
Eric Dargan, the guilty penalty there. Here's a draw. This is Bush pounding his way forward. Tennessee Tech scored on a turnover to begin this game. They were ahead 7-0. Here's Bush again, bouncing outside, got a nice block. Another flag on the play. This down at the 25-yard line.
The number 66, the center, Michael Baker, was able to get up on the linebacker second level, which made that hole.
There is no foul on the play for an illegal formation. The formation was legal.
First and goal to go for the Golden Eagles. And again it is Bush. This time he's able to move the plow forward. Second down. Pressure from the edge. Stone fires a bullet in the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee Tech. Darian Stone rolling
Back
out.
at that first game against Arkansas State, the reserves, they weren't happy with how they played. At Arkansas State run up a lot of points and put some yards on the ground, and they really felt like they had some teachable moments they can correct. Today, the reserves not doing the job.
Braylon Addison is back, shielding the eyes from the sun, makes the catch and is spun around and dropped shy of the 25-yard line. Handy service to fans and broadcasters. We're here doing the games. It's great to come home and kick back and watch a full evening of one rewind after another. And what a great weekend it was last weekend. Oregon keeping it on the ground. There's a fine looking run there. That was Byron Marshall, who's getting some touches here in this third quarter.
Yeah, looking tough, pulling the left guard, having some shakes in him. Sets it up to the outside, squirts up the middle, breaking tackles. 3 good runs so far by the youngster.
Picks up 17 there, and he'll get it again. Works it right side, gets a block down to the 46-yard line. Fresh legs, Byron Marshall.
Again, showing good vision. Watch the cut right there. Excellent job by the right side of that offensive line that allows him to get in the secondary before he's touched.
Bennett, the quarterback, hands off again. Slants left and then veers back to his right. And quick pace to this, as you know. No huddle offense for Oregon. They love to just get it and go. Bennett rolls out left. He's run out of territory and he just put it out there in space. Ushered it out of bounds. And they'll mark it back there about the 45-yard line. A loss of yards there.
Yeah, Golden Eagles doing a good job on the speed option, and that's one of the best plays that Brian Bennett runs.
2-by-2 for Oregon now with 3rd and 7. Bennett flips it to the man coming out of the backfield. That pass was underthrown. I don't think it was caught. Of course, beat Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. 45-38. Tight spiral. Stephen Bush back to field it at the 11-yard line. We mentioned the resume of Oregon because they're ranked 4th in the country and they are on the verge of once again defending beginning next weekend their 3 consecutive Pac-12 championships with a game here against Arizona.
And they've really dominated the Pac-12 since Chip Kelly has been there. You know, you go back to last season, they had that close loss to USC. That snapped a 21-game home streak that they had, and you know they got over the hump, finally beating a BCS school in a bowl game, beating Wisconsin. There's a lot of great things that they've done here. There's only one more thing left to do.
Quick pass near side out of the backfield, and a gain of a few on the play. Hill and a cornerback now for Oregon. Darian Stone flushed out of the pocket. Rolling, looking, and gets out of bounds. They had Kansas State and New Mexico on the schedule, but they both dropped out. And, of course, then they had to quickly go out and bring on board some teams to fill the schedule.
Chip Kelly welcomes the big matchups, and coming here in the next few years, you're going to see some big non-conference games that come in to play the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, home and home with Michigan State. Kelly, what are you trying to manage at this point with a sizable lead? You're playing your backups. In some cases, you're playing third string. Here's Bennett now. Direct snap, fakes the handoff, flings it near side, complete.
Plays on both sides of the ball, a lot of different players, and so they're going to have to rely on depth to get them through this season, and that was one of their strengths of their team, was their depth and the guys that they have at reserve.
Well, Yogi, one thing's for sure, they're using this to their advantage, giving Bennett some touches, but also Byron Marshall, who got the carry there and the carry again. And he gets to the second level and is wrapped up and dropped at the 35-yard line. Good-looking young back.
Yeah, well, you can mark it down. There's going to be a game in the Pac-12 where Byron Marshall is going to carry this Oregon offense from the backfield. And they know this with their twos and their threes. And right now, they're finding out with these critical snaps, who can they count on later in the season.
Bennett adjusts. You can see him check down the progression and finds a man to the far side.
And that was Brian Bennett's best snap in the game as a passer. Went through his progression, saw who was open, who wasn't, and really put the ball right on.
Total offense today for the Ducks, 557 yards. Bennett the handoff and a big gain down to the 5, and again it is Byron Marshall, and boy, he is just ripping stuff off and gashing that defense.
Yeah, up the middle, Trevor Fox, the reserve offensive lineman, pulls around, gets up on a linebacker, doing a nice job gutting the inside of that Golden Eagle defense.
9 carries, 103 yards. Pump faking. Bennett changes directions into the end zone as he is spun around and flipped into the air. And a touchdown, Oregon, as Bennett has done it again, going solo into the end zone.
And that's where he's at his best. He is an electrifying runner at the quarterback position in this offense. And down in the red zone, he's almost unstoppable. Watch him as he goes up over the top. You got to be careful, big guy, because that's some dangerous stuff right there.
It sure is. And nearly stuck the landing. And the extra point is up. It is good. Well, as most everyone expected, Oregon leading big on Tennessee Tech. 56-14 the score. The Ohio Valley Conference champions of a year ago. Brown, a quarterback at Vanderbilt back in the late 60s. Fourth quarter yet to come here from Eugene. 59-14, all Ducks.
If you're just joining us, this is the story of the game. Oregon defensively flying around. Taylor, Hart, Dion, Jordan causing a lot of havoc for the offense. And then the fastest thing that Snoop Dogg has ever seen on grass. The Black Mamba, DeAnthony Thomas, breaks it open. Did it all the way around, on the ground, in the air, and in the return game. And that got the Oregon Ducks rolling here.
Kevin Ollie, Crenshaw High grad, just named the coach of the Connecticut men's basketball teams. There's a look at the Mamba. Spelled with an O, by the way. Low snap. Stone picks it up. Handoff. Nowhere to go. He's got a little of that Latrell Sprewell about it. I think he played pretty good two-guard.
Well, hey, Adam, he did come out to practice when I was at SC once, play a little wide receiver. He did okay. You might be able to D him up.
Yeah, he's probably more of a crossover guy, you know, on the hardwood. Here's now time for a Coors Light freeze cam. Brian Bennett at quarterback, over the top. Easy there, big fella. Nice little landing somersault for his first touchdown, second touchdown of the game.
Marshall is 200 pounds. Barner is at 192. And then, of course, DeAnthony Thomas will come out of the backfield. He'll catch those passes in space in the flat, and he'll light you up as well. Barner has a touchdown today as well. Negotiating the near side here at Eugene, by the way. We started the day 70 degrees and absolutely no wind. We probably built to about 80 degrees today. Bennett on a keeper, spins and got corkscrewed to the field. He's down around the 44-yard line. The Great Northwest. There it is. They've had a lot of wildfires in the area north of here in the state of Washington. The air a little hazy as you look out over the mountains.
Great game last season. That was one of the best games of the season. But a little bit different Stanford team that we're watching right now. Obviously, Andrew Luck is the big story, has been the big story up there.
Pac-12 in the top 25, USC and Oregon in the top 5, Stanford at 21, UCLA 22, and Arizona at number 24. Arizona at home later against South Carolina State, their next opponent here in Eugene. Breaking free near side. That is a sizable game. A tremendous stiff arm as Oregon now has Ayale Ford on the field.
Yeah, Ayale Ford, nice cut. The stiff arm right there in the linebacker, all up in his grill, telling him to get out of his kitchen.
Here's the handoff left side. That is Marshall bouncing outside. And a touchdown. Byron Marshall with his first touchdown of the afternoon to go with over 120 yards. A pickup of 4 there. And all that depth and blue chips athletes playing as your third stringers. Hard to beat that.
No question.
You know, those kids have been working very hard in practice. They've earned some time. Oregon has put up 640 total yards and a great balance, Adam. 328 yards through the air, 312 via the ground.
Had a couple of mistakes, but for the most part, the precision was there in the pass game.
For Tech. Handoff going right side. Stephen Bush probing. Works out right side. Strung out and tackled down across about the 25 yards. Watching Oregon last year, we just decided we wanted to play like Oregon does. He says you'll see a lot of the same sets, a lot of the tempo. We want to play just like the Oregon Ducks. He completely changed up last year what they were using, and it led to an OVC championship.
Yeah, he really liked the depth, and he felt like it's a heavy senior class, guys that have been in the program a long time, and a 2 deep, which you absolutely need if you want to run this style of offense. Really lent itself well.
Mike Yam and Rick Neuheisel, Curtis Conway along after this game to break down the action that has occurred in the Pac-12 so far and look ahead to games that will be later tonight.
And nobody able to block him on the outside. They completely meet in the backfield at the quarterback or the running back.
6 plays. They've only gained 119 yards today. Here's a short punt, and that flutters out of bounds near the 40-yard line. Eugene, it is time for the Quicken Loans amazing play of the game.
Well, no question about it. DeAnthony Thomas marked him down for not just this play. He had a bunch of them, but an unbelievable effort. The only problem was, big guy, you got to tuck it before you get across the goal line. That's a touchdown off of the board for DeAnthony Thomas, and 1 for the big right tackle, Jake Fisher, hustling downfield, picking it up for the score.
Yeah, they go to work again. This looked like Ford up the middle for the Oregon Ducks. Wearing hoodies down there. I didn't know it was that cold down there at the stadium. I mean, they're dressed up like this is, you know, the frozen tundra here or something. I think it's a fashion statement. It's got to be so. That, huh?
Yeah, that looks like it might be a Snoop Dogg special. And you almost want to give him a minus if he doesn't get into the end zone.
72 offense. 5-yard penalty.
Remains 3rd down.
If there are 2 blemishes on this game for Oregon, the penalties is 1, and the fact that the 2 turnovers that they had allowed Tennessee Tech their 14 points. And so that was the stat that Chip Kelly is worried about, is how do we handle the turnovers?
Jackson Rice to punt, and Bud Golden is back. This is a beauty. Tight spiral comes down to Golden, and he trips up, fell down, ball may be loose. Well, I lost something. Go get it. Knee down. Ball jabbed free, but did he ever really have possession of it?
Yeah, he never looked it in, and that was a problem. You can see his eyes didn't follow the ball all the way.
Watson Brown's dad owned a sporting goods store. He said he and Mac Brown, who is the coach of Texas, would wait around the sporting goods store until Jelly would come with a school bus and the football team. They'd jump on the school bus. They'd go to Jelly's high school football game. That's a great way to grow up, isn't it?
You got to love it. That's where it's at right there.
Darian Stone hands off. Stephen Bush. Bush has room. Bouncing outside. Accelerating to the 30. And over toward the sideline for a 1st down.
But the effort is still there. The desire is still there. This is a nice run right here by Bush. Now breaking the contain after he pops up the middle.
Tennessee Tech taking on number 4 Oregon this afternoon. Stone fakes the handoff, goes right side, pounds into a tackler at the 40-yard line and drags the tackler ahead for 1st down. 1st down for Tennessee Tech. Near side, Urbano trying to string it out. They were bogged down. They were forced to punt. Here's Stone. A little read option outside of the wing.
But a great start. It's how you draw it up if you're Tennessee Tech. They just couldn't keep up, though.
Stone tried to force that one in there. It looked like just as Stone planted his back foot.
Great break on the ball. Dior Mathis, you can see the trip right there, but that could have been his second pick on the day.
A moment ago, as players were sprinting toward the sideline and their momentum carried them out of bounds. Man working along the sideline, a quote-unquote civilian standing right here near the Oregon bench, unable to get out of the way. Tennessee Tech player came in there, his momentum, he couldn't stop himself. Big collision, and the helmet right there on his jaw, knocking that bystander down. And they are attending to him right now. The medical staff here at the stadium at Autzen Stadium attending to him. Back-to-back championships. 25-2 record against the Pac-12. Kelly in his 5th year here in the program, of course, was Mike Belotti's offensive coordinator for 2 years before taking over. So the gentleman that was along the sideline and hit accidentally by Tennessee Tech defenders, he was pursuing the ball, and obviously his momentum carrying him out of bounds. Is big wheel to an ambulance. Certainly wish him the best.
False start, number 68 on the offense.
Boy, up here, Adam, sometimes it looks like such a... Until you stand on the sidelines and realize how fast and big, agile these guys are, and just how hard they hit one another, the impact.
And you got to watch out down there.
No, you really do. Well, Dustin Haynes is into quarterback now for the Oregon Ducks. Story on Haynes, 6'3", junior, 2-year letterman from right here in Eugene, from South Eugene High School. Mariota threw for 4, by the way. Close snap, fielded beautifully, and again a nice spiral and a drive that sends Golden fair catching to the 26-yard line. And it was that he was relating a story about playing for Bear Bryant. Bear brought him aside and said, "I'm going to trust you to put the ball in the air. I'm going to let you throw 20 times. And you think about it now, I mean, that seemed like it was a real breach from the norm to allow somebody back in that day to throw 20 times, because Joe had already left Alabama at that time. Stabler was yet to come to Alabama, but there were some great quarterbacks there at Alabama. But can you imagine that? Gee, coach, you're going to let me throw 20 times? Wow.
Yeah, in this day and age, that's an insult to your quarterback.
Here in the 4th, and it's all Oregon, 63-14, as everyone expected it to be. Some movement up front and a flag.
False start, number 66 on the offense. 5-yard penalty
against the offense.
Main second down.
By Russell Athletic Wear. Here is Stone back to the near side.
Great game to debut new uniforms when they're playing against Oregon. Kind of get overshadowed by the uniform combinations.
Yeah, you can't compete when it comes to that category. They'll switch up on you. Here's Tennessee Tech now, just trying to keep it on the ground, grind this baby out. Now, Chip Kelly doing the moonwalk over there. He thought, let's just wrap this baby up now. 57,000 see it as Oregon wins again to go 3-0. They move into Pac-12 play next weekend here at home against Arizona. For Watson Brown, the defending Ohio Valley Conference champions, it is on to their opener next week. Kenjon Barner had a terrific day today. So did DeAnthony Thomas. Well, the whole team, look at that. 652 total yards, a record 720. 63 points scored today. 78 plays they got snapped. But penalties obviously plagued them, particularly in the first half. So even though they are ranked number 4 in the country, there's still some ironing out to do with this Oregon team. As Yogi Roth mentioned to us, this is a young team when you look at this Oregon roster.
Yeah, but I think they accomplished a lot of things today, and I think the penalty situation is going to get cleaned up. The most important thing for this team in this game was to come out and play with an attitude, not overlook your opponent, and not think that you could just show up and things are going to turn out your way. And from that standpoint, I thought they did well. Defensively, they were flying around. playing very physical, and on offense, I thought they were clean. The quarterback, Mariota, was real sharp in the passing game, and then Kenjon Barner, DeAnthony Thomas just do what they always do. So this was a plus.
Coach, over 650 yards of offense. How do you assess that side of the ball today?
I thought they did a decent job. We still got to stay out of the penalty situation, but there's some things we can build on. You know, getting ready to get ready for next week.
And speaking of next week, you got Arizona Pac-12 play starting. What are 1 or 2 things you're going to focus on this week in practice?
And we're going to watch a film before we figure all that out. So.
All right, good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Yogi. As we know, it's all about the film. Oregon 63, Tennessee Tech 14, the final in the sunshine here in Eugene. That's going to do it from Eugene, Oregon, where the final score reads Oregon 63, Tennessee Tech 14. For Adam Archuleta and Yogi Roth, I'm Kevin Calabro saying so long and thanks for watching.